There are more than 500,000 school and transit buses in the United States. Most of them run on diesel. The Biden administration wants to change that, allocating $45 billion for electric buses as part of the massive $2 trillion infrastructure bill.
We ought to be the single most significant suppliers of electric buses and vehicles in the world before it's over. Right now, we're running way behind China.
On Tuesday, President Joe Biden took a virtual tour of a South Carolina company that makes electric buses and charging systems. Vice President Kamala Harris visited a school bus manufacturing plant Monday. Both underlined the goal that all American-made buses would be zero emission by 2030.
It will keep our nation competitive. It will build up our nation's communities, and it will put our nation back to work.
The White House says the plan will reduce carbon emissions to reach the target of the Paris Climate Accord that the U.S. rejoined in February after President Donald Trump withdrew in 2017. But it's criticized as too broad by Republicans who say an infrastructure bill should not include spending to tackle climate change.
The proposal that the administration has put forward spends more on electric vehicles than it does on roads and bridges and ports and waterways and airports combined.
The administration is trying to garner Republican support, partly by framing infrastructure investments in the context of competing with China. According to Global Infrastructure Hub, projected Chinese infrastructure investment from 2016 to 2040 is 5.1% of its GDP, while the U.S. is 1.5%.
It challenges that fundamental idea that American life is what it is, partly because America is in first place in so many of these aspects of our national life. Only America is not in first place in infrastructure. Like I said, we're in 13th.
Investing in clean energy and green infrastructure will also be a focus when Biden hosts world leaders in a virtual climate summit later this week.
The competitive rationale to building up the supply chains and the businesses here will partly be driven not only by ensuring that the rest of the world is doing its part, which is part of the equation, but that we're a leader in developing these new businesses so we can be economically competitive and lead the world in selling these technologies and remaining prosperous in this new energy paradigm that we're creating.
Biden's plan sets a total $174 billion to win the electric vehicle market, which includes funding for sale rebates and tax incentives and building a national network of 500,000 electric vehicle chargers by 2030. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News.